Welcome back to High Stakes. Elevate your betting game by hitting that subscribe button and ensure you never miss out on our daily content. Want exclusive access to premium betting picks? Join our Patreon. Links are waiting for you in the comment section below. Stay ahead of the game with High Stakes. This matchup between Rutgers and Alabama is loaded with intrigue, and after breaking down the stats, it's clear that Alabama is the team to back, especially considering the point spread. Rutgers comes in with some serious momentum after their nail-biter win over Notre Dame, but let's not get too caught up in that overtime victory. Sure, they got it done, but that game was a grind. 31 points in overtime, 16 lead changes, and they were relying heavily on their freshman duo of Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey, who have been lights out offensively. However, this is their first real test against a ranked opponent, and Alabama has been on a different level altogether, despite their shaky shooting percentages in the Houston game. Alabama's offense is fast, furious, and efficient, scoring 88.8 PPG this season. They've got multiple weapons, with 4 players averaging double digits in scoring, and they're coming off a stretch where they took down 3 ranked teams. Their defense has been stingy too, holding opponents to under 40% shooting, and they've got a plus 6.7 rebound margin, a major advantage when it comes to wearing down an inexperienced Rutgers squad. Rutgers has been shooting the ball well, but with all due respect, the Scarlet Knights haven't faced a squad with the depth, pace, and scoring power that Alabama brings to the table. Plus, that overtime battle against Notre Dame is bound to take its toll on a young team still finding its feet. Alabama has already handled multiple ranked opponents with ease, and they're well coached to exploit Rutgers' inexperience. Pick Alabama minus 10.5 points. The Crimson Tide are going to impose their will here, pushing the tempo and making it tough for Rutgers to keep up, especially with the freshmen likely wearing down after their grueling overtime effort. As for the total, we're looking at 2 teams with fast-paced offenses, both of which have scored at will in several games this season. Alabama's high-scoring offense, 14th in tempo, and Rutgers' offensive firepower mean there's a strong chance we see a high-scoring affair. Given their pace, the over 159.5 is looking like a solid play here. Pick over 159.5 points. Expect an up-tempo game with plenty of scoring. Both teams are built to push the pace, and that should lead to fireworks on the scoreboard. In conclusion, Alabama covers the spread, and the over hits with relative ease in a high-paced, high-scoring showdown. Looking at this Notre Dame versus Houston matchup, the Cougars should have the upper hand in what's shaping up to be a classic contrast of styles. The Fighting Irish have shown their offensive chops, averaging 82.5 points per game, but their lack of experience against ranked teams this season, coupled with an emotional overtime loss to Rutgers, could leave them vulnerable here. They're facing a Houston defense that's among the best in the country, allowing just 57.6 points per game. Plus, Houston's defense ranks 10th in the nation in field goal percentage allowed at just 36.3%. This is going to be a wake-up call for Notre Dame, as they'll be dealing with a much tougher defensive unit than what they've faced so far. Houston also brings a potent offense to the table, averaging 83.4 points per game, and they have a sizable advantage in terms of size and strength on both ends of the floor. Despite their overtime struggle against Alabama, they were still able to hang tough, and they'll likely come out with a chip on their shoulder here. With L.J. Cryer leading the charge and an efficient offense, Houston should be able to get their way in this one. Pick Houston minus 16.5 points. The Irish will put up a fight, but the Cougars' defense and overall strength should overwhelm them by the second half. Total prediction, under 134 points. Both teams are playing at slower paces. Houston ranks 350th in tempo, and Notre Dame isn't far behind at 289th. The emotional toll from their overtime loss to Rutgers will likely lead to a slower, more methodical pace, especially with both teams still trying to recover from that added fatigue. Houston's defensive prowess should also limit Notre Dame's scoring opportunities. Expect a low-scoring, grinded-out game. Looking at the UCONN versus Dayton matchup, it's clear that the Huskies have the advantage in terms of talent, depth, and overall physicality. UCONN has had its struggles in Maui, with a tough loss to Colorado, but their performance against the Buffaloes highlighted a key issue: foul trouble for their big men. Samson Johnson and Terrace Reed Jr. have been a major part of UCONN's success this season, but they've been unable to stay on the floor. Still, this could actually benefit the Huskies here, as they will be rested and ready to take on a Dayton team that has been playing at a high intensity for 2 days straight. Dayton has certainly impressed, especially with performances like Malachi Smith's career-high 22 points against ISU. However, they are gassed after 2 tough losses, and with their key players logging heavy minutes, it's hard to see them matching up against the more talented and fresh UConn squad. The Huskies will likely use their size advantage and deeper bench to wear down Dayton, especially with their big men likely to stay out of foul trouble. UConn's offense, led by Alex Karaban, should also bounce back after a rare down game, and they have the firepower to control this game. Pick UConn minus 7.5 points. UConn is the superior team here, and while Dayton has shown resilience, fatigue will catch up with them in the 3rd game in 3 days. UConn will be motivated to make statement after their loss to Colorado and should cover this spread comfortably. Total prediction: under 147.5 points. Both teams run slower offenses. UConn is at 241st in pace, KenPom, and Dayton isn't much faster at 241st as well. This is a 3rd game for both teams in 3 days, and with less energy, the game is likely to slow down. The total will likely fall under, as both teams may focus more on defense in this low-energy contest. Expect the Huskies to control tempo and the Flyers to struggle with fatigue, leading to a lower-scoring game. Rider versus Villanova is shaping up to be a classic mismatch, with Rider's defensive-heavy game meeting Villanova's offensive firepower. The Broncs are 4-2, but their record is built on playing gritty defense, allowing just 70 points per game and forcing opponents into poor shooting from beyond the arc. However, they lack consistent scoring and are shooting just 40% from the field, which is not nearly enough to compete against higher-level teams like Villanova. Rider has been in close games, including a 57-53 win over Bucknell, but their scoring depth is a significant weakness that will be hard to overcome against a Wildcats team loaded with offensive talent. On the other hand, Villanova has the advantage of explosive scoring, averaging 79 points per game behind senior forward Eric Dixon, who's been putting up 27 points per night. While they've had struggles with depth and closing games, they still have more than enough firepower to handle Rider. In their most recent game, Villanova lost a heartbreaker to Maryland, but Dixon's performance, 38 points, shows that he's capable of carrying the team. The lack of depth is concerning, but against Rider's offense, they'll likely be able to outscore their opponents easily. Pick Villanova minus 18.5 points. The Broncs just don't have the offensive tools to keep up with a Villanova team that is far more talented. Rider's inability to score consistently, only once going over 70 points, will allow Villanova to pull away in the second half and cover the spread comfortably. Total prediction: over 137 points. While Rider plays a slower pace and focuses on defense, they've allowed 70-plus points in 4 of their 6 games this season, which could lead to Villanova scoring comfortably in the 80s. With Villanova scoring 75 or more in 4 of their 5 home games, expect this game to hit the over as the Wildcats take advantage of Rider's defensive lapses. Despite Rider's slow offense, Villanova should put up enough points to push the total above 137.